Fintech Australia and Tier 1 People present the 2022 People's Choice Awards. The Finnies Award, where the Australian fintech community gets to decide the winner. Make sure to join us on the 23rd of June 2022 in Melbourne for the industry's most prestigious awards event. Now, here are a few words from one of this year's finalists.
Hello, my name is Christian. I'm the CEO of Monoova. Monoova is a payments automation platform based in Sydney. We're here to free business to scale.
Christian, congrats on making it to the finals for Fintech Organisation of the Year at the People's Choice Award.
Thank you, Dexter. It is terribly exciting to be in this category. It's probably my favorite category. Of course, there are lots of favorites, but this is a very big one.
First, let's have a chat about Monoova. You said there in the intro a little bit about what you do, but what's the big problem that Monoova solves?
Monoova helps tech-enabled platforms solve issues around spending too much time and resources on managing payment flows, particularly at scale. So what we support often other community members in the fintech community with is making payments something they don't need to worry about. They know that they can get payments moving as fast as their own ideas. They know that they can automatically reconcile funds and all of those stuff that should be in the background, but actually with us becomes a matter of the background. So they can focus on the things that they're really there to do. It's probably providing an excellent customer experience in whatever industry or product that they're offering.
Fantastic. And who are your customers?
Our clients are tech-enabled platforms almost to a T. So these are businesses some of which are very large. One that I often use as an example because it's well known is Wise, formerly TransferWise. So that's a very large international fintech, and we service them here with a fair amount of pride in Australia. But there can also be 3 people in a dream type tech-enabled platforms who are solving the newest thing in terms of buying and selling carbon credits, or who are making it possible for people to access funds faster for auto lending. It can be investment platforms, making it easier for people to invest in a timely manner at a level that suits them personally on the stock exchange, for instance. And in all these instances, we make the payment component, which, whether you like it or not, is going to be a major aspect of your customer experience, something that is just much smoother, much easier. We also, of course, help our clients directly, not just help our clients help their customers by making the tasks that are assigned to their treasury teams or their accounts receivables and payables teams, something that you can move mostly to computers so people can do people stuff instead of counting things in a spreadsheet.
So if I've got an investment app and I need to move money from savings account into that account, usually it can take anywhere from 24 hours to 4 days. With your technology, it can happen pretty much instantly. Is that right?
That's right, because annoyingly, stock prices don't wait for your money to arrive. It's not like, Elon Musk stops tweeting around Tesla prices while your money is in flight.
Yeah, since you said that, the price of Bitcoin has just changed by 10%.
Correct. And wouldn't it be amazing if you could get money to or from an exchange, at least keeping a pace with the change in Bitcoin fluctuations? So what we make possible is for our clients, so these tech platforms, say a stock exchange platform or investment platform, to receive funds in real time. So by the time their customer, so the ultimate investor, if you want, is moving the mouse cursor away from the pay button on their, say, NAB banking portal, the money is already with the investment platform. And not only is that a good thing for the platform, but the customer experience is great because that platform can immediately send their customer a message saying, "Thank you, Jenny. We just got you $100. Off we go and invest in the stock that you find interesting." And then the same thing goes the other way around. And there is obviously, we might get to it a bit later, what's really exciting right now is that we're at the forefront of what's currently possible. And that's shifted a fair bit in the last 4 or 5 years that we've been around for, with the launch of real time. But what's going to be an even probably bigger change, if we look at the medium term, is what's coming up next in the next few months with Pay 2. That we can get there as well. But that's going to be really exciting. I think it's a real way for Monoova to support our fintech friends by totally revolutionizing the everyday Australian experience of making payments.
Now, you were a finalist in this competition last year as well, Christian, and I recall that chat because there were some pretty impressive numbers and growth that you'd seen in that kind of 12 months prior. What kind of growth have you seen in this last 12 months?
Thank you, Dexter, for reminding myself and, of course, the listeners of all our successes. We had an extraordinary growth year in FY21, not without its challenges, which I think I also I was hopefully honest with on that podcast, and that we grew too fast really for our own processes and systems behind the scenes. This year, we're also growing very comfortably. Not quite at the same pace, but we're growing in a way that we can support and sustain every second of every day, as opposed to being surprised when numbers are overwhelming. So we'll be significantly larger at the end of this year compared to where we were last year. To give you some specific numbers, Monoova has moved close to $50 billion through our proprietary payments engine in the last 5 years, and the majority of that in this financial year. Monoova is responsible for issuing roughly 11% of all pay IDs in Australia. We are responsible for roughly 5% of all MPP-enabled bank account numbers in Australia. And we are obviously hoping that we'll have a similarly large impact on the rollout and the experience of Pay2.
Awesome. And that 5% market share, who are you in competition with for that?
So when we speak specifically on sort of MPP-enabled bank account numbers, the type of player who is likely to be bigger than us and that we're in competition with really are the banks, but banks are not actually our competition. So our competition is primarily the old bad ways. So there are a very small number of companies that are doing what we do in Australia, and the ones that are front of mind are phenomenal executors of their strategies, and I have great respect for them. I guess a good thing for both them and for us is that while we might be the closest competitors, and so there are definitely similarities which allow our clients and their clients to compare us and make good choices, which is not a bad thing. Our biggest competitors, as I said, are people having teams of 15 people reconciling incoming payments, running 2 or 3 different systems that don't speak to each other, and hoping for the best that human error is not going to feature too often. Bad ways where you might have 99% of all your transactions working out fine because people remember to put in their lodgement references, but you spend 99% of your time on the 1% where people have not written their lodgement reference correctly, and you're therefore waiting for reconciliation until God knows when. So we're working in a market which is quite distinct from what I think most people consider to be the sort of normal payments market. Most people would associate payments with very large brand names such as PayPal, Square, Adyen. You can probably think of a few others, Stripe, of course. And those are companies that are tremendously good at what they're doing. That's why they're all, $1 trillion companies. But they're all good at roughly the same thing, just moving funds from someone's card to someone else's bank account. And that is a market that's obviously has a lot of promise and potential, but it is one which is really well served and serviced. The market that we're in is the B2B space, where cards play a role, but a much, much smaller role. And where, as I said, we're not just dealing with an underserviced market. It is, almost entirely an unserviced market. So there's plenty of space for us and others to grow and offer better services. Fantastic.
Now, had some changes at the business as well over the last 12 months, I believe, and some exciting changes. Can you talk us through that?
Yes, there are a few things that are going on, obviously, on an ongoing basis. One thing that's very exciting for us is coming out strongly in the next little while with a combined cross-border domestic capability. We have this FX sister company that we've been working alongside for a little while, and a lot of our clients on the domestic side are also serviced by our sister company on the cross-border side. We're going to bring this all in-house to become one as seamless as an experience can be, subject to regulation and other things. Whether you're moving money to Melbourne or you're moving money to Milan, we want to create something that feels truly automated and seamless. So that's going to be very exciting. What is exciting is also, of course, the growth of our team. And coming out, I think, even more strongly with a clear focus on what we're good at and leaving other things behind. Really, this freeing other companies to scale by operating at the forefront of payments in Australia. And I think in the near term, we'll also be probably talking a little bit about other markets where you'll probably find us as well.
Awesome. Now you touched there about growing the team. With no secrets, I think that everybody's finding a very, very tough market for hiring talent. And this year, we really wanted to focus on this area as well as a part of the kind of, I guess, the competition, because it's critical to get the best people. What innovative approaches have you taken to hiring the best talent, Christian?
It has been, and it continues to be, really challenging. I guess it has been differently challenging in different skills or talent categories, which at least makes me slightly more confident that we'll find people in some parts of the team than in others. So I said we've grown probably 20% even just since January in terms of staff. What I guess is maybe speaking to one of the other things that are new for us is that we have fundamentally rebuilt and rethought our people team and people function at Monoova. So whereas previously there was more of an HR function, there is now a people function, which obviously HR is a component part of it, but understands that why we do something and why anyone would like to do anything is at least as important as the how the what and the how. So we're trying to become way more value-based and allow people who are attracted to what we're doing to also think of that in terms of, do our values align as much as do our experiences and expertise align. We have partnered in a way that we previously never have with other players in the market, whether that are sort of fintech peers or in some cases, of course, search or recruitment partners. But I think the fundamental thing is what we're building inside. So we've, as of a few months ago, we made a public commitment to becoming one of the best companies in Australia to work for. We have some way to go before we can say that with credibility and know that we stand a chance to win awards in this category. And it's not because of lack of trying, but there have been so many things on. But what we've come to understand, I think with absolute clarity, is that people and culture are to organizations what stability is to a system. And you can have all these other things and think that you don't have time to think about people and culture because you need to fix a system or you need to write a paper or whatever it may be. But you are never going to do any of those things particularly well unless the people and culture aspect of your company is really solid. And if we want to be product leaders, we need to be people leaders. And I think there's a slightly new spirit in the team as we're growing, and maybe particularly important because we're growing, that everyone, this sentiment suffuses everything we do.
Awesome. Now you touched on this earlier, but what is the next 12 months, what does the future look like for Monoova?
Yeah, so there are a few different things. I guess I not particularly subtly dropped some of them already. So providing this cross-border domestic joint experience or uniform experience, to say you integrate with one set of APIs and it gives you access both here and cross-border. But then also working hard on becoming local in other markets. So the cross-border component means we can move money from where we're local, which is Australia, to other places and vice versa. But actually becoming local in other markets is going to be important. And we're thinking the region is going to be where we go first. but with an eye ready to be on. Continuing to building the team. So last year was a year of, as we said earlier, truly enormous growth for us, that we weren't always prepared for what we needed to provide behind the scenes to sustain that. And so this year has been a year of backfilling and investing heavily in what that looks like. Next year will be, I think, further consolidation on some of these things. We have some really cool things happening, even at the tech level. I know our clients are highly tech focused and versed and versatile in technology. So it matters to us and them, not just that our features are good, but our technology underlying those features are good. And I think we'll be able to probably announce a few cool things over the next few months on that. But overall, I think probably the most exciting things for us as we look at the next 12 months is going to be the clients that we'll be working with, the partners that we'll be working with. So we have already been forging some strong partnerships, whether that's with RegTech or other things in the market. And we have a pipeline of some really forward-looking clients that we can't wait to go to the market with and show that what we're offering isn't specific to fintech. It's just that fintech is much faster at picking these things up, but it can serve a much larger market, where the biggest challenge is not that they don't have the issue that we can solve. It's the biggest challenge that they might not understand that they haven't, because there's a certain rhythm to the business and people haven't been looking into changing everything at the same time. Or maybe they're not always aware that there is a solution to having lots of people doing computer stuff and having payments moving once a month rather than 3 times a second.
Yeah. And as we wrap up, Christian, you mentioned this earlier. This is also my favorite award, not only because we sponsor it, because it is the opportunity for the fintech community and your peers and your clients to be able to vote and have a say in who they think should win the award. So bearing in mind that we're kind of now speaking to the fintech community, why do you think that people should vote for Monoova?
People should vote for Monoova within the fintech community because we've been a wholehearted, long-term servicer of our fintech friends. And we've been able to do that at points when maybe there weren't that many other options in the market, where we were able to support our friends in the digital currency industry, for instance, where I think we were probably the only ones for not a few years who could do that, both domestically and cross-border. Because we have made accessible to lots of our fellow community members the kind of payment technology that otherwise would have been stuck somewhere in a bank that either didn't have the technology to make it accessible in the places where it needed to be, so inside our clients' ERP system something, or didn't have a view of risk that aligned with that of the broader fintech community. I'm hoping also that we will get vote not just for what we've done in the last 5 years, but also what we'll be doing. Being a front runner and a launch cohort member of Pay2 will open up, that will make it possible for Monoova to open up this truly watershed moment style payment technology to our community friends. And we think that's just the beginning of lots of other things. We want to make it possible for our fintech friends who are not doing payments specifically to just consider that to be done. You think of payments, you think of Monoova, and you exhale and you get on with your life with the things you actually want to do. Brilliant.
And of course, the legendary Monoova parties.
Yeah, look, we haven't had enough of them, but they're definitely going to be quite a few, I think, coming up.
Well, let's hope that when we're there in Melbourne on the 23rd, we've got some celebrating to do, Christian. Congrats.
We will, regardless of what happens with this vote, there'll be some celebrating to do. Yeah. So thanks for having me on and for talking to me about all the things that we're working on.
Awesome. Congrats on making the finals and good luck to you and the whole Monoova team on in all the categories in this year.
Thank you, Dexter. Thanks so much.
The People's Choice Award is brought to you by Tier 1 People, leaders in fintech executive search. We'll help you launch, scale, and innovate by finding world-class people.